Welcome to ATA GTR 2022, Day 2, Track 1. Let's move on to the first session of the afternoon. We would like to welcome Rahul and Khushboo. Rahul is working as a senior software engineer at IFM Engineering. Khushboo is working as a software tester at iBase. Rahul and Khushboo would be conducting a lab session on bug advocacy and beyond. To know more about Rahul and Khushboo and to see their video interviews, please check out the links below. Ma'am, the floor is all yours. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Shivam. Thank you so much. I hope you guys can hear me well.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. I'll share my screen. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Can anyone give me a thumbs up?
Yes, we can, ma'am. Yeah.
All right. Great. Okay. So hello, people of Earth. I hope you're all doing amazing. Welcome to the Global Testing Retreat 2022. In the next 90 minutes, I'm going to talk about bug advocacy. What is it? Why should testers use it? And how fruitful it is. All right. Before we go ahead, Rahul and I want to thank Agile Testing Alliance for giving us this opportunity, this platform to share our understanding about this amazing skill. And I want all of you to participate and make this session more interactive, all right? So that we can, let's just be skeptical about this idea of bug advocacy. That's what I meant. And also, let's keep interacting in the chat. As we move forward, I also want you guys to respond in the chat so that I know that we're all on the same page. Cool? All right, so let's get started. All right, here is a shloka, a verse from Mahabharata, which is one of the major Indian epics. It goes like, Yato dharma, tato jayaha. Where there is truth, there is victory. Now, Rahul and I believe that we testers, we have a dharma, we have a righteousness to bring the truth in light. Now, by truth, I mean the information that's valuable, that matters. And when we do that, we win. Actually, not just we win, but our entire team wins, our users win, we give them what they value, what they want, right? So let's all be victorious. All right. Now, I want to take you all on a quick walkthrough of what are we going to learn during this session. All right. We'll start with a fun short exercise, and which will lead us understanding what is bug advocacy, what does it involve, and why is it important. Then we will see how to structure a bug. We'll learn how to structure a bug report. And then we will check a few levels of bug reporting. We will learn the levels using an example. And Rahul and I have refined a few tips, some basic useful tips that you can use, which will help you get started with advocating bugs. All right. And we'll also check some mistakes or traps to avoid. Once we're all thorough about why, when, and how to use bug advocacy, we will zoom into the fruit that it brings, which is credibility and persuasiveness. Now, it's a difficult yet crucial quality to develop, right? After that, we will check some tools that can help you write compelling bug reports. And then we will check some next steps, like what can you do after this workshop? What are the resources that can help you practice the skill? And we will run a quick recap. And then we'll attend to your questions. So also let's do a Q&A session in between, like when we're halfway, right? So that we can cover maximum questions as much as possible. All right, so let me know in the chat, guys, you guys are excited? I'm very excited to start. Can you just give me a yes or a thumbs up? Anything will work. I'm looking in the chat. Okay. Okay. Yes. All right. Okay, you guys. Okay, I feel the energy. All right. Cool. So let's start. Before we start the exercise, I want all of you to, take a quick, let's just brush up a few terminologies that we use in our day-to-day work. All right. And I'm aware that various testing professionals are attending this workshop, from the leaders in testing industry, from the ones who are on the way of becoming leaders, from the ones who just got started with testing, right? And like by running through these definitions, we will understand why these terms are called what they are called, right? So let's see what is the first term. Quality. Quality is value to someone who matters. Now, this definition was given by James Park and Michael Walton. It's an extension of the definition given by Jerry Weinberg, which was quality is value to some person. All right. Now, James and Michael further extended their definition, which says quality is value to someone who matters at some point in time. All right. So that's what quality. Next is bug. Now, bug is anything that affects the value, right? It is anything that affects the value of the product, right? And this definition was again given by James and Michael. Next is defect. All right. Some of you might feel confusing whether we should call a problem a defect or a bug. And the only difference between these two terms is that defect is a bug with legal consequences. All right. Defect tells you how serious a bug is, how serious a bug can be. If the bug is serious enough that the customer cancels the contract, or the customer wants to return the software, or they want a refund, right? And this defect term is used mostly by lawyers during a lawsuit in the court. So just to keep things simple, we will use the term bug throughout the session. All right. Next definition is error. Error is anything that tells you about human errors or mistakes. Internal server error, 500, human error. Resource not found, 404, human error. App is not loading, button is not working, API is not integrated, human error, right? Next is symptom. Symptom is an indication that tells you that there's a problem hidden inside the system, right? Let me give you a very simple example. You get fever due to stomach infection. Now, if you want to get rid of the fever and you treat the fever using some medication, it will get back in a few hours. For you, in order to get rid of the fever completely, you need to treat the stomach infection. That's the problem, right? So symptom is something that you see on the surface, while the problem is hidden deep inside the system. Understand that. Now, the last definition is change request. Enhancements can be reported as change request. For example, if you have any idea on improvement of UX user experience, or for an improvement in a function or a feature, you can report it as a change request. But the change request, whatever you write in the change request, it has to look like a suggestion, and you should not claim it something, as a problem, that there's some problem. It should look like a suggestion. All right. So these are the definitions. And now that we have understood the terms, let's start the exercise. All right. So it's the exercise. During the exercise, I'm just going to share a document, all right, in the chat. The application that you guys will be testing is called Parabank. It's by Parasoft Software Solutions. It's a banking application. You'll have 10 minutes. I'll give you the URL. You'll have 10 minutes. Get in the mode of finding problems and reporting them. All right. Let me just first share the document in the chat. Okay, I just shared the document. Can anyone please confirm if it looks good? Can anyone please open and check? Yeah, thanks, Prachi. Thank you, Swapna. Thank you, Radhika. All right, cool. All right, so you can find the app URL in the document, in the PDF. all right? And focus on finding one problem. Do not go on finding multiple problems. This is not a competition, all right? Just focus on finding one problem and open a Word document, all right, side by side, and write the bug report. What, if you find a problem, just write about the problem in the Word document, create it as a bug report, and keep it with you, all right? So once you guys are ready and set, I will start the timer. Just let me know in the chat if you guys are ready so that I can start the timer. Just give me a few yes. I'll wait for maybe 5 to 7 yes. Yes, yes. Okay, 2 yes, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9, 10. Come on, let's wait for one more. Okay, thanks, Arpita. Okay, cool. All right, so I'll quickly start the timer. All right, here it is. You have 10 minutes. All right, time starts now. Guys, timer is started. It's you have 9 minutes. Uh, so Nihal, I see your message. You can um, you can report multiple bugs, of course. Like you can report more than one bug, but the goal of this exercise is just focus on one problem and try to get as much information about the problem as possible. Try to investigate it more. That's the goal is. That's why I said just one problem. Focus on one. You may find more, but just if you've got one, focus on one, investigate it, try to write more information about the problem, that one problem. Cool. Thanks. Okay. No worries. Okay, guys, you have 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes almost left. 1 minute left, guys. Last 1 minute. Last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right. Time's up. Okay, guys, time's up. All right. So let's come back to the workshop, everybody. I hope you guys could work around with the software. Somebody unmute.
We need to share here, or like we need to post?
No, Swapna, you don't have to share anywhere. Just keep it with you. We are going to run an analysis right now, like just after this slide, all right? And we are going to do a self-analysis. So you just have to keep it with you and see how precise was it, what all data points you could have included, what all, how could you have investigated the problem well.
Yeah,
all right?
got it.
Cool. So is everybody ready so that I can go to the next slide? Just let me know if yes. Are we all back? Okay. All right, you guys. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. All right. So give yourself a +1 if you could find a problem. All right. If you could not, don't worry. We are going to learn something out of this anyway. And did you think, what were you doing right before you found the problem? What was your intention? Did you try to have a goal, while working with a feature or functionality? What lead you to that problem? Test environment details. If you have guys included that in your report, which browser did you use? Which browser did you open the app on? And which browser version did you use? If you've mentioned that, give yourself a +1. Did you add any screenshots? Did you try to record the video or capture the problem? If you did that, give yourself a +1. What is the test data that you used? Did you try a set of data, or what were the input values you used if you worked with the input form? Give yourself a +1 if you included that in the report. Why do you think it's a problem? Are you sure it's a problem, or is it a feature? And if you think it's a problem, why do you think it's a problem? If you've mentioned that, give yourself a +1. What was the application environment? Did you add the exact URL or any URL, of the app in the report? Give yourself a +1. Is the issue consistent or reproducible? Did you check if you can reproduce the issue? Were the results consistent? And if it was not reproducible, did you mention that it was not reproducible? Give yourself a +1. Risk, impacts, worst consequences. Did you think of what can be the possible risk if this problem went into production? How it can impact the customers? Who are the customers? Which customer group or user group will it impact? Did you think that or add that in the report? Give yourself a +1. Is it an issue or a symptom? Did you try to differentiate it? Is it just something that you see on the surface, or there is some, a serious problem hidden deep inside the system? Did you mention that? Give yourself a +1. Did you include the steps to reproduce? If yes, give yourself a +1. Data values flows where this does not exist, where this problem did not exist. Did you check any similar flows or any similar views where you could not find the same problem? If you did, give yourself a +1. Other data combinations that you tried, if you've added that, give yourself a +1. Suggested fix. Did you add? What do you expect? How do you expect the app to behave if this was not a problem? If yes, give yourself a +1. preconditions, if there were any preconditions and you included that in the report or you considered adding that, give yourself a +1. Issue severity, could you think of how serious this issue can be, how serious this bug can be? If you did that and if you added the severity level, give yourself a +1. Customer business impact, what is the number of, what is the percentage of customers that this problem is going to impact? Could you like think about it? Could you investigate and find that information from the app? Any further analysis to be done in future? If 10 minutes were not enough and you thought that, okay, I could have, I needed more time to investigate this further. And if you've added those steps, how you will investigate it further. If you've done that, added that information, give yourself a +1. Cool. So this is what the analysis looks like. Now, let me know, you guys, do you think that these kind of data points can be useful in the bug report? Do you think, give me yes, just give me yes if you think yes, these are important data points. Nihal, yes. Radhika, yes. Ganesh, yes. Okay, yes, absolutely. Great, yes. So now that we have done the analysis and we know that these kind of data points are important, let's understand what bug advocacy involves. All right. Presenting the bug in its strongest, honest light. The problem, the bug that you find, it must be clearly reflected in the report. It should not hurt the sentiment of others in your team, maybe, be it a developer or a product owner, someone from the product team. It should not hurt anyone's sentiments, right? And the information that you add in the report, it must be honest, it must be well examined and well written. That's what bug advocacy involves. Second thing, connecting bugs with the concerns of various stakeholders. Now, stakeholders can be your internal or external customers. Internal customers can be the teams who are using the application that you test, right, within your organization. And external customers can be the one outside of your organization that are using the application you test. So know and understand what these customers and stakeholders value, right? See if the value is getting affected due to some problem. Present this data point in the report, right? And if you do that, you're actually advocating for a bug. So that's what bug advocacy involves. Last thing that it involves is enabling good decision making. Now, please understand one thing: we need to focus on adding information that helps the decision maker to make a well-informed decision, to decide whether the bug has to be fixed right now or not, right? We should not just put our personal opinions without doing proper research investigation. It's advisable that we keep this point in mind, that we need to help the decision makers to present the information that they are looking forward to, that will help them make efficient decisions and better decisions, right? So this is what bug advocacy involves. Now, here's an interesting analogy, which says bug advocacy is similar to selling bugs. Why this analogy? Let's understand what is sales. Sales is an activity that involves selling, right, or number of goods sold in a given targeted time period. Now, it also means that you convince people to buy your product, right? So, but wait, why do we need to sell the bugs? Here is one of the reasons. Time is always short. Most of us are working in an agile environment, right? We are building products fast, we're testing products fast, we're shipping products fast. And since we have a targeted time period to test the product, to find problems in it, and to report it, we better do it efficiently, right? And that's why we need to sell the bug. We have to have that intention. Developers are overcommitted. Developers have to make a trade-off call every now and then, whether to work on a new feature or to, fix bugs of an existing version of the product, right? And it's important for us to, add information such that they can make a better call, they can make a better decision, and they can see that, okay, this is a bigger picture of the problem. And since they are overcommitted, we need to make sure that we convince it on a first try. Third reason is that customers are unforgiving. Since, it's easier for people nowadays to find replacements and replacement or alternative of any product in the market. It's very important for us to retain our existing customers, right? And if the problem goes into production and if it affects, the business, we might, basically, if it affects the value of the user, we might lose customers, right? The business might lose customers. So that is why we need to sell a bug. Now, understand one thing, that, in order to sell, you need to motivate the buyer first. And here the buyers are developers and product owners, or, the product team, basically, who makes decision on whether to fix the bug right now or not, which bugs to fix right now or not. So motivate the buyer, overcome the objections, be ready with the data to overcome their objections or the reasons that they might give to not fix the bug, right? And since you are trying to put the data that the decision makers are concerned about, and the information that will show how the value of the customer gets impacted, you need to communicate with the decision makers better. Personally, in my company, I cannot interact with the customers directly, so we only get to interact with the product team, right? And if I don't communicate with the product team well, if I don't have enough questions, I don't have enough information to get, I won't understand how the customers use the application, how they want it, what do they value, what they understand, what they can't understand, right? So it's important that you communicate effectively in order to sell the bug. That selling the bug is the end goal. That's what it is, right? So, but bug advocacy is beyond selling. It's not just limited to that. You save the time and resources when you advocate for bugs. So when you know that you have to motivate the buyers, right? Now, the developers, you have to convince them to fix the bug, or you have to convince the product owners or the product team to take a decision, to basically approve the bug to get it fixed, right? You basically, what you save is you save time and money. Money is nothing, but it's a resource. And when you advocate for bugs, when your bug gets sold, the outcome that you get is the improvement in the quality of the product. But you don't just save time and money, you also build your credibility, your integrity, and your reputation. By writing compelling bug reports, you build your credibility. And that's the fruit of the skill. All right. Now, now that we have talked about, now we've understood how what bug advocacy involves and what is it, let's understand what a classic bug workflow looks like. All right. Now, this is inspired by James's article. It's a very interesting flow. I mean, it's a very classic flow. Don't think or don't expect this to be a fixed process, but just focus on whom do we interact with and how do we work with others during the entire life cycle of the bug, during the entire journey of the bug, right? So, for example, if you found a problem, you found a bug. Now you check if it's reproducible or not, you check the reproducibility, you check if it's a general issue, if the same issue exists on some other part of the product, if there are similar flows, if, so basically you try to find if the problem is more general, if it's more serious than it looks like, right? So you investigate, you do deeper investigation, you do follow-up testing, and you finally, till fourth step, you're just, kind of observing that, okay, there's a problem. This is the problem. You're sure that, okay, there's a problem. Now, after that, you try to comprehend and authenticate it by checking if something a similar bug exists in the system or not have been reported before or not, right? And then you go on, differentiating it, whether it's a symptom or a problem. Now, you can also, what you do is you can go to the developer and ask them, understand how you can get more information, how how to understand that what can be the symptom, what can be the problem, how to understand if there are more symptoms, So basically, while you're differentiating the problem, you interact with the developers, right? And then you report the problem. Sometimes what happens in some cases, the testers, your fellow testers also help, like a group of testers maybe report a bug, or you may go to a peer, your manager, your lead, to confirm the information that you added in the report, if it's considerable or not, if it's faulty, if it's lacking something, right? You just get a review basically, right? So you report the bug. And when it's received, there is a decision that is made on whether to fix this bug right now or not. Focus on right now because time is important. Why time is important? Let's say suppose if you found a problem and the customer does not really care about the feature that you found the problem in, right? They are looking forward to some other feature, right? So it doesn't make sense that we move that bug into the current release, because we can communicate with the customers that, okay, this is a known problem, so just bear with that while we are building a strong feature for you, right? So that can be one of the reasons that you might want to keep that bug on hold, even if it's a serious bug, right? We will see that later in the slides. So this is a classic bug workflow that we just saw. And now we will see why we should practice bug advocacy, why it is important. First reason, testing has its social challenges. Testing is a very social activity. It's a highly social activity. We have seen in the last slide, right? And since it is, it involves you communicating with multiple teams, multiple people, you have to write reports that are convincing, because the bug report is the only way for you to pitch in your judgment, right? And the entire organization looks forward to the bug report. Absolutely. They read it. They judge your bug report by reading how did you do the analysis? How did you find that information? What information did you include? So testing has its social challenges, and that's why you need to practice bug advocacy. Second is persuasion in testing. Persuasion is really, it builds with time, right? And I read one article written by James on persuasion for testers, and in which he clearly states how how important it is for the testers to be convincing, to write compelling bug reports. He suggests to run a reality check, right? He asks, so he suggests that we should ask two questions before pushing hard for the bug. We should ask the first question is that ask yourself if you are sure that there is a problem, if you're sure about the problem, right? You must know that the facts that you're presenting are true. You must do that by doing deeper investigation. You need to ask if this bug really matters. Does this bug really matter, right? What if you push this bug so hard and it turns out to be wrong? I mean, oops, that'll affect your credibility, but be very careful with that. Second question that you must ask is, are you sure that people are ignoring your problem? I mean, there can be challenges, technical challenges that people might be aware of. They might know that, okay, there is a bug, but we are not really focusing on that, so we'll just keep it aside. And just know about that before claiming anything, before going into a discussion or an argument, right? Just ask yourself these two questions, and it will help you build your credibility. Third, buy more time to get the bugs fixed and to test more. Now, when the release is near, everybody keeps an eye on you. Everybody asks, should we release? Are we ready to go? I mean, as if we are the judges to decide whether the product is good to go or not. But usually, like, let's say suppose if during that, you find a problem, and then you think that this problem is really important, this is a serious problem. Now you want this problem to get fixed. Bug advocacy will help you to put information that your stakeholders are, looking forward to. So basically, you're adding the data points that help the people make the decision that, okay, this is a serious problem, this is going to impact this many customers, or this is going to have these many risks, right? So include that information, and you can also buy more time once the bug gets resolved. So let's say, suppose if you get the bug fixed, and you think that it might also, you might need to test a few areas in the application where the fix might have some impact. So you can also pitch for for buying more time. You can say that I'll have to test these areas, so I'll need more time. And bug report is the ultimate tool to do that, right? So these are the major 3 reasons why you need to practice bug advocacy and why it's very important. Now, here is a quote by Dr. Kem Kainer. Says that best tester ain't one who finds most bugs, or who embarrasses the most programmers, but the one who gets the right bugs fixed. Now, you know what he means by right? It's the valuable information, the information that matters, right? That's what he means. And it's not really important that you report multiple bugs. You report the maximum bugs, and you are the best tester. It's not like that. You report one problem that's serious, very serious, and that can cause the business so much, and you save that, and your credibility and your reputation will be good enough, right? And here's the book that is highly recommended. It's Testing Computer Software. You must give it a read. All right. Now let's see how to structure a bug report. Before we get started, I just want to check if there are any questions that need my immediate attention. I just want to see if, do you guys have any questions? Should we move ahead? Just give me a yes, or maybe we can, cover the questions after structure. Okay, I think we can cover a few questions. Swapna, yes. Swapna? Hello?
Yeah, I have a question, Khushboo.
Yes.
There are certain terms where we are speaking about advocacy, but there are limitations as a QA. You understand better because of the last moment requirement change. You name it. But within that, how well we can implement that? It's not saying that everybody are doing their best, but about that, there is, as a practitioner, how can we do the best achievement to do that? As we know that raising the bugs is not the solution, but how to get fixed it and what is the impact on the business. It is a cycle where we need to see on that nutshell, but there are certain parameters where will be blocked because of the last moment fixes. So how do we address this bug advocacy in production?
I'm so sorry, Swapna. I did not get your question. Can you just frame it
I mean
again?
to say, this can be bug advocacy can be done on the UAT environment, on the dev environment, even on the pre-pod. But when it comes to the prod issues, right? There are certain amount of things where we need to do the patch fixings, all those already unknowingly. Also, there are some things where beyond our limits because of the manual or automation. At that point of time, how would you rate ourselves that chalo, we have done this bug advocacy very perfectly in our checklist? I'm speaking with respect to production issues.
Okay. So production issues are, so if there's a production issue and if it needs a fix, if the customer told you that, okay, I'm facing this problem, you have to get it fixed. You don't have to advocate. People will say that, okay, fix this. Developer will fix himself or herself, right?
Yeah.
And the bug advocacy, the practice that we're talking about is about, when you are when you writing a bug report. In production issues, you don't have to report the issues. The problem is already there in front of you. Right. You have to just fix it. But the practice that we are talking about right now is pitching your judgment, convincing people through your bug reports, writing reports and adding information in your reports such that people don't have to waste their time, or we don't have to waste our time discussing how important this bug is and we need to fix this. We just put the information in the report and report does its job. That's what it says.
Okay. So this actually speaks about how well we are like representing the reports and how well we are judging ourselves as an individual, like bud advocacy, right? Instead of showing to the team, but our report shows how the bud advocacy is showing out the quality of the product, right?
Yeah. So basically, you have to write reports that convince people who make decision on you. We testers, we cannot take decisions on the bug. We cannot
Right.
say that, okay, we cannot set the priorities, right?
We can't.
Right?
We can't.
Exactly. So we have this, a default job to convince people. We have this default challenge to convince people to be influential, right? And we can do that only by writing influential bug reports, right? And this is all this is what it is about, advocating for bugs. So when you are advocating for bugs, you are selling the bugs, you are convincing people so that the bugs get fixed. This is the art. This is the activity.
Basically, it is kind of art we need to implement ourselves.
Right. And your bug reports can be read by anyone. So, as I said, that you build your credibility, you build your reputation. You that is built only when people read your reports, right? So people will read your report. People from your management, from outside your organization, they will read your report and they will judge you. They will judge how you investigate, right? And it's actually not just about the report. It also tells you how do you need to do deeper investigation of some problems, right? So it's also included in your testing practices, basically.
Right. My question is linked with Priya Sharma from the chat also.
Okay. All right. Priya asks, sometimes bugs cannot be reproduced at the same moment or later. It exists hidden issues. However, the steps cannot be defined specifically. These kind of issues can have major impacts later. What should be done in such scenarios? You need to do deeper investigation. You need to mention that you cannot reproduce the bug, and you need to ask, if you cannot really figure out how to do deeper investigation, go ask your peer, maybe ask developer how, understand the if you have to understand technicalities, track the object history, and try to work with the developers and understand how you can investigate better, how you can find if there's a deeper problem that's hidden inside. That's the only way. And if it's not reproducible, it's okay, you can mention that it's not reproducible, but you need to also mention that you are going to check these things and you're going to work with the developers, right? If you're creating a report in that case. All right. Any questions? Do we need to add expected result in bug advocacy? Okay. Arvind, expected result. We will see that later. Now that we are, learning about the structure of bug reports, we'll see in levels of bug reporting, right? We will answer your question then, Arvind. All right. So I think we should go ahead. We'll attend questions at the end of the session. All right, let's get started, people. So here's a very cute, interesting drawing of what a bug report can tell you. It's this art piece was done by Andy Glover. Cheers to Andy. And so notice this. There's a drawing. There's a bug inside the drawing. It is described such that you see that, okay, there's a bug, it's a problem, right? It also has the date and time when this bug was observed. It has the details of the footprints that you can use so that you can track the bug and you can reach to the bug, right? And then it has, it also shows how it can be dangerous. If you go around the bug, how it can, be harmful. It also shows that, the environment or the location where the bug stays in. So, and also, yeah, there is a summary that's given, big bug in a field, right? Big bug in a field. It's a very brief and, it's a good summary. So this drawing, the goal of putting this drawing here is to show you guys how you can make a bug report look simpler and effective, and also add these important points in the report, right? So the goal is to keep the bug report as simple as possible, right? Try to think, if you were to make a decision by reading a bug report, just try to think, if you were to make a decision on this report, would you be able to make the decision, right? When you write a report, reread it and judge your own report, judge how it is structured. Now, in order to structure the report well, there is a mnemonic that we can use, right? It's called RIMGR. And here the R stands for replicated. You have to see if it's replicated or not. If you cannot replicate it, if you cannot reproduce the bug, mention that you cannot reproduce the bug, but include this type of investigation in your testing. And I stands for isolated. Try to limit the steps. Don't include unnecessary steps, obvious steps in your report. It will just add a lot of noise, and it will make the the report look very lengthy. Just add pointers, simple pointers. Don't add unnecessary steps. Try to isolate the problem. Maximize it. Now, if you think that the problem that you find can also exist on some other flow, on some other view, try to check those forms and views and flows, such that you can report a generalized bug. You can kind of see if there is any serious problem hidden inside. For example, there is a form that you're filling. Now you click on the button and the button doesn't work, right? Try to see if the API is failing, or if the UI is not able to process the data. Try to see the deeper problem, the more serious problem. G stands for generalize it. Try to broaden the extent of the bug. As I told you, try to check if the bug exists on some other flows or not, and try to report as a general bug, and then also include all the flows that are impacted, all the views, or all the areas of the product that were impacted due to this bug. E stands for externalize it. Always look for information that shows how this bug can be valuable, how this bug can impact the customers, how this bug can have risks. What would be the possible risks of the bug, right? Try to include that kind of information. A stands for and say it clearly and dispassionately. Watch your tone. Just be very, very careful. Be sure that your tone is very neutral. You must not take things personally, and you just present the fact as fact, right? Report it clearly and dispassionately. That should be the goal. So let's just summarize and break this down into 3 simple steps. Start with main detail. Is it replicable, or are there any conditions, or trigger points that cause this problem? Include that. Group your supporting arguments. Keep all the risks and the impacts and any costs that the business might incur together in the report. Don't put it here and there. It'll be effective if you put the entire block at one place, right? Here, the support cost means, for example, you find a problem. It's a usability problem, right? Now, you think that you investigated about the customers. You tried to understand your customer and how they use the application, and you figured that this might be confusing for the users to use. They might need some assistance. They'll contact customer care and we'll have to assist them. That's for sure, right? And if you think that it's going to, your customer service team will have to expand, you can present it and you can warn it by writing the same in the report. And you can say that, okay, this might increase the support cost, or the services team might have to, we might have to expand the services team so that we are available to the customers, because if we miss this problem, this is going to create a chaos. So group those kind of arguments. Third thing that you can do is logically order your, so there's this pyramid rule of communication, right? Now, just make sure to put the conclusion first, right? And then describe the ideas that supports the conclusion. You might have noticed this during the entire presentation. We have done the same thing here. All right. So these are the 3 steps of how you can structure your bug report well. And if you want to get a template of a bug report, you can check the workbook that Rahul and I created. It's on bug advocacy itself. You can find it on Beanpub, and you can check the template in that book, right? Let's move ahead. Levels of bug reporting. Okay. So the levels of bug reporting, we're going to understand this using a problem itself. So I personally tested Parabank software, and I found one problem. All right, I'm going to show you that problem in the next slide. Cool. Just be ready. I'll show you and explain the problem. It's a GIF, so I'll have to really explain it faster. So just be ready and see what the problem is. All right. You see that there is a checking account created already, right? Now, I'm going to create a new checking account. I'll open a checking account. $100 will be debited from the present account that I have, right? And when I go to accounts overview, I'll have 2 checking accounts, right? The new account has $100 in it. Now I'm going to transfer fund $200 from the new account to the old checking account. And the application allows me to do that. Well, you saw clearly that, the new account had only $100. Still, it allowed me to exceed the limit, and it allowed the transaction. Now, it is a problem. So let me know if you guys could understand the problem. Let me know in the chat, or you want me to repeat it? You want me to repeat what the problem is? If you want me to repeat, say repeat. Repeat. Okay. Okay, I'll repeat anyways. Chalo. So we have a checking account created already. Okay. Now I'm going to open a new account. I'm going to open a new checking account. Checking is a current account, business account. All right. So I've opened this account. I'll go to account overview where I can see both the accounts that are created. Now I'm going to transfer a fund. If you might have noticed, the new account has only $100 in it, right? I'm transferring $200 from the new account to the old account. The new account had $100 only. The problem is that the application is allowing me to transfer the amount which is more than the available balance in the new account. Did you get it? Did you get, Swapna, did you get the problem? Yes? Okay. You found the same as well, Priya? Brilliant. Brilliant. Cool. Prachi, yes. Okay. Cool. So you guys understood the problem, right? Now, let's see how we could, how we can report this problem. Let's see what are the options. This is a standard reporting format that you might see. It's I've been doing. I did the same way. So you can see that the title says a validation error message does not appear while making a bank transfer of more than the current balance. Okay, this report says about a validation error, right? It also has steps to introduce, steps to reproduce, log into this URL, enter this password, this username, this password, click on this button, go here, navigate there, blah, blah, blah. It has all the steps in detail. Then there is an expected result and there's an actual result. Okay, this is a format. This is a level 1 standard reporting format. Let's see some notes on this. How can we judge this report? This is the most common type of reporting in the industry. I personally did the same thing when I started testing, full time. I used to do the same thing because I saw everybody doing the same thing, right? So I used to have the expected result, actual result thing. That was the standard process. But it shows that it shows how there is too much detailing done. You don't have to really include navigate this, click on this button, go to the left side panel, open this form by clicking on this drop down, all these details, right? This is over detailing, including obvious information, right? Now, some bugs need precise steps, of course. You have to mention if you're, following, if there's a flow that you need to follow, you can mention it as a flow, simple. You can use the UI elements, you can use the UI terms to, guide the reader, but too much detail is can be noise for the report, for the reader. Now, this bug report also shows that it gives an impression that the developer or someone from the product team does not know how the function of their feature works, right? Which is not the case. I mean, the developer has developed this, right? So of course, he or she might know how to use it. So we don't have to, guide people how to use the feature, but we should focus on the problem. Now, let's see level 2, improvise standard. The summary says a validation error message does not restrict the user to perform a transaction of more than the current balance. Okay. All right. The bug description has, the credentials, and if you notice, the 4th point, the same problem occurs in bill pay feature. Now, the same problem was seen in some other form as well. So that is mentioned here. Tried 3 times, got consistent result. Reproducibility was checked, and there is an attached video as well. Let's see some notes on level 2. Slightly better than level 1. Why? It ensures that the developer does not come back to the reporter for obvious questions. Now, there is an attached video. If the developer cannot really, understand understand the steps well, they can, whoever is reading the report can access the video and know that, okay, how do I reach the problem, right? They won't come to you for obvious questions. It shows the reporter's awareness of how to generalize the bug. It shows that it is a general bug. It was seen in bill pay feature as well. The same problem, the same thing was allowed in bill pay feature. I could pay more than, the available balance, right? The same thing happened there. So this is a generalized bug. The level 2 claims that it's a generalized bug. Shows the follow-up work done by the reporter. Reproducibility was checked, so it's a part of follow-up, right? And also it mentions how the results were consistent, right? So this is level 2. Now let's see level 3, reporting with advocacy. Let's see what's the difference. Users with a current account with insufficient balance are not warned before a bank transfer, resulting in an overdraft. You see the problem? Overdraft is a problem. The summary mentions that there's a problem. Now, bug description is the same. There is one thing that's newly added, which is the impact. More than 70% of our customers have a current account with us. This bug will result in an uninformed overdraft for which the users will have to pay interest. Overdraft is it's an instance where, if the business account, the current account, the checking account, if they don't have available balance, the bank still allows the transaction, resulting in, so if the transaction is done, the account owner has to pay interest for however, for the money that was lent from the bank, right? So that's an overdraft. Now, were the users did we see any pop-up coming that it will result in overdraft? No, it didn't, right? So it clearly mentions that it's an uninformed overdraft. The user does not know if an overdraft will occur, right? Let's see some notes on level 3. Far better than level 2, it shows the impact. It says that 70% of our customers have current account, checking account with us, and there are high chances that this will be a problem, and they will end up paying, they will have to pay interest because, and we will be, the company will be in fault because we did not inform that an overdraft is going to occur, right? So far better than level 2. It shows clarity on actual issue. It says that there's an overdraft, possibility of an overdraft, right? It talks about the overdraft, the problem. It doesn't say that, okay, there's a validation error that's missing, it's restricting the user. No, it's straightforward to the problem. Shows awareness of users use the app and impact bug can have on users and business. We saw the impact fee, right? Number of users that will be impacted. This kind of bug helps the reader understand the business value of the bug. So this is what advocacy looks like, right? This report shows, the level 3 report shows that you are advocating for the bug. You are trying to convince people and show people that this bug is important, right? And that has to be honest, right? That is the default thing. This is level 4, bug reporting with advocacy and investigation. Now, the summary will be the same, I guess, but there is some investigation that was done. Savings account holders are allowed to perform an overdraft as well. It's not in the books. Saving accounts does not have that capability. Still, this application did not have that concept. And it was also allowing saving accounts to perform these transactions, more than the available balance. And then the impact changes. Of course, it includes the saving account holders as well. So mostly 100% of the users get affected. And in the notes section, you might also notice that there are a few related bugs that are found during the investigation. So that is also added as notes. Let's see some notes on level 4. All right. It shows that the investigation done, after having found a bug. After finding the main problem, you also went to check if the saving account users also face the same issue or not, and you added that information. That was the investigation done after you found the problem, right? These are the points that are clearly illustrated: impacts, reproducible consistency, information, behavior of the app on similar parts, screenshots, other related bugs. All the first four points are already there. We added other related problems in the note section, right? Furthermore, it prevents the reporter from reporting similar bugs or issue again. Now, you know that you've reported, you've mentioned about the savings account in the same bug as well. The entire problem for current and savings account will be covered under the same ticket, right? You don't have to go on reporting some other bug, another ticket. It relates, it adds, it has related bugs as well in the note section. You've seen that, other related bugs are also added so that they get addressed in order to, test the main problem after getting fixed. All right. So this is about level 4. Now we'll see level 5, contextual and fits best when it's applicable. Now there is one more bug that I found. There is this feature where you can request for loan. Okay. Now, if you submit an empty request loan form, there is an internal server that occurs. Now, these kind of problem, you don't have to raise a ticket for that. You can just go to the developer and say that, bro, I found this problem. Please fix it so that I can, go ahead with testing. So when you find these kind of issues, internal server error, app is not loading, the human errors that we talked about before, you can just reach out to the developers and say that there is a problem, please fix this so that I can go ahead with the testing. So when you can use level 5, how you can use level 5 is using asynchronous communication. Use Slack, go do Slack, do Teams, talk to people, get on a call, tell them that you found a problem and not a problem, but an error, and then just get it fixed. This way, you will avoid unnecessary tickets, unnecessary reports in the system, right? There are opinions that we must report each and every problem that we see, but this is an error. And if it can get fixed with just communicating it with the person, it just takes 2 minutes for the person to just fix it and just make it available for you to test. Why to put in efforts and time to create and add information and then wait for someone to see the report and then fix it? Why to wait for that? I mean, you can just go on. The lesson here is do not test crap. Crap is human errors and mistakes. I mean, not an intention to disrespect anyone, but it's just that these kind of errors, we're not supposed to investigate them. We're just supposed to communicate them. And then once they're resolved, we can go on doing some real investigation, right? So that's about level 5. Now let's see and summarize how and when you can use, so when exactly you can use these levels. Now, bugs that need less or no explanation at all, you can report them with a title, just with a summary, just with a title. Now, for example, you found a crash while login, right? You entered username, password, login, and then the app crash. You can report it just with a title. You don't have to explain it, further. Issues that have multiple symptoms, side effects, or loops. The parabank issue that we saw, right? The overdraft issue, we can report it using the level 3 and level 4 structure. Build server issues, human errors, these kind of issues, you can just communicate with the developer, get in touch with them, get on a call, and then get them fixed. That's about level 5. All right. So before we start and see some basic tips, let me know if we can go ahead. Just give me a yes if you guys are with me. Come on, give me some yes or thumbs up. Anything works? Yes, yes. Okay. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Cool. Let's go ahead then. Let's go ahead and see some tips. All right. Tip number 1, look for information beyond test results. So once you find a problem, right, you see the technical, you just go in finding some technicalities and you do deeper investigation and find, observe that, okay, there's a problem. Now, in order to understand its impacts and risks, and in order to, understand how it can impact the customers or how to convince people how it can impact customers, you can actually use the competitors' data. You can go online and just check, if there are any cases where competitors have faced the same thing or competitors have done better. You can also reach out to your sales and marketing team. By the way, they collect these kind of reports and they collect these kind of studies, case studies, to keep a track with what the competitors are doing. So you just go on and see what they are doing and how you can also do better work. If they have done something and experimented something, it went successful, go on, do it better than them, right? So you can pitch in your information by studying the competitors' data. Usability weakness, try to understand who are your users. Try to check user personas. Your marketing team might be doing that, right? Collecting user personas, interviewing the users. Try to understand how they use it and try to track which group of users will get affected by that usability error or problem, right? Try to see if, people try to understand and know if people will get criticized with any information that you post in the report, right? Any information that you are intending to post, to add in the report, if people will get criticized, try to, have your, do your research and have information with you to back up the criticism and to overcome their objections. Lost value support cost, other implications. We talked about lost support costs, right? Try to add that kind of information as well in the report. It will do wonders. Expert opinion, credible sources, legal issues. Okay, you can also reach out to your SMEs, your subject matter expert, for, if you're working on a section of a product where there are subject matter experts, you can just reach out to them and understand, if how you can, get more information about this functionality or about the users, what they value. Try to get their opinions, try to see what they have to say about the information you are willing to post, you're willing to add in the report, right? Get their opinion as well. And try to see it might result in some legal consequences. I mean, the bug might result in some legal consequences or not, right? So the last point is compelling stories and cases. If you cannot form a strong scenario around a problem, that means that the problem does not matter too much, or maybe you did not investigate it properly. So either you have to investigate the problem properly so that you can form a strong scenario around the problem, right? Or the case around the problem. And if not, just leave it and move to the next thing. So that's tip number one. Tip number two, motivate the programmer. So programmers can defer the bug, they can reject the bug, they will say that, you know, I won't fix, or this doesn't make sense, or I can't reproduce it, right? They might reject the bug. Now, they will fix the bug if the bug looks really bad, if it affects a lot of people. If you mention that it's going to affect 80% of your customers, they'll fix it immediately, right? Or if reaching to the bug is trivially easy, we took one example of the login crash, right? If it's that easy, if the, you know, problem is just with the title, they'll immediately fix it, right? If it breaches the contract, if the problem, you know, so let's say, suppose in the contract there is something that's guaranteed that will be there in the product, and if the product does not have that, or if there's a problem with that feature or that function, present that this is what we guarantee and this is not working, right? It might customers might cancel the contract, right? We might have some problem there. If it embarrasses the company, now, for example, if let's say, suppose there is a logo that is used in the application, and the logo does not follow the design guidelines, right? And you have to put that in the report that, you know, if we do not make it as how it's supposed to be, it might put the brand identity in danger. It might put it might embarrass the company, right? So if you find that kind of information, you know, if you could really investigate properly, know what information will help you convince the developer, put it in the report. If the management wants it fixed, if the product team, the product owners acknowledge that, okay, this is a serious problem and this has to be fixed, put them in loop, you know, tell the developer that the management wants to get this fixed, right? So they'll immediately fix it. So tip number 2 was motivate the developer, motivate the programmer. Tip number 3, research the failure conditions. We talked about the fever and the stomach infection symptom, right? Stomach infection problem and fever as a symptom. Do not stop at the symptom. Go deeper, do deeper investigation. Try to vary some data, some, you know, settings. Try to configure some fields if your app allows. If you're working with embedded system, then, you know, try to change the firmware and the hardware configurations and settings. Try to do more work by varying the data that is going inside the system, and try to see how the system behaves, so that you can look for, you know, the problem. You can find the problem, the cause, and not just the symptom, right? Also, a lot of people might have heard this, that corner cases might just be a tip of the iceberg. I mean, I personally faced the same thing when I was new to the company. I found a lot of cases where people told me that, you know, customers won't go there, customers won't use this form. This is a rare case. It won't matter to the customer. You know, why are you testing in this? Don't do this. The customer is not even, you know, like they don't even care about this feature anymore and all of that. But try to put that kind of data, try to do deeper investigation, try to know more about the function, you know, try to get in touch with the developer and try to understand if there is any related code that might get affected, or, you know, so try deeper investigation. Do not leave the corner cases. It might reveal some bigger problem, right? That's tip number 3. Tip number 4, make risk assessment more compelling. Now, Michael tweets here that, you know, he explains how risk analysis can be, you know, mind blowing. And so basically, if we show people that this problem is going to impact human life, or this problem is going to, you know, or this person will be in danger, or this group of users will be in danger, or this group of users will be impacted this way. When we present risks in the report, it's your report becomes more compelling. And so let me give you an example. For example, if you're working on a telematics device, a telematics is a plug and play device that you can use in the car, right? It shows you all the car diagnostics, and you have an application that shows all the diagnostic of the car, right? All the data of the car. Now, there is a DTC, diagnostic trouble code, that which shows that your engine control, electronic control unit, ECU in your car has some problem, right? So now the device that is plugged in the car, it detects it, but the application does not show DTCs. It does not give any notification, or it does not show any error in the application. The notification bar is also not working, right? So show that in the report, that if we do not show that DTC, there's a DTC, there's something wrong with the ECU, people might end up in the accident if they're driving the car. The car might break down, and whoever is in the car might be at risk, right? Show them that kind of those kind of risks, so that they can, check in all ways and make better decision on whether to solve this bug or not right now, right? So be curious about risks as well. That's what tip number 4 is. 5, enhance your writing skills. Okay, start writing blogs, start writing, about your day-to-day experiences. I personally do journaling. I don't do blogs. I do a lot of journaling. I'm also going to journal how my experience was. Since this is my first workshop that I ever conducted, I'm going to also write down my experience in my journal. So I write my experiences in a form of story, so that I when I go back to that experience, I know that I'll be able to grasp what I learned, and how, just a conclusion, I'll be able to, understand and experience it again, right? So it is suggested that you also try to write your reports as stories, right? So that it becomes easier for the reader to understand, and it becomes well structured, right? And so reread what you write as well. I mean, whenever I read whatever I write, I get more idea on how I can improve the next time when I write similar things. I also write, so we also usually report our peers, and we do some reviews, and we send our quarterly reviews and all, right? So I have a format ready. So I try to reread how I can make it better every time that I send the report. So it helps me a lot in improving the writing, right? And one more thing you can do is you can sign up for writing workshops. It will help you a lot. It'll be challenging, exciting, fun, and you'll get you'll get your writing skills enhanced. So that will be a icing on the cake. Cool. So that was about tips. Let me know if you guys are with me. I just want to be sure that we will take the questions at the end of the session. I see Rahul is with us. Hello, Rahul. Okay. All right.
Hello, Khushboo.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, cool. We are moving to understand what are the mistakes to avoid. Trap number 1, testers start thinking of themselves as police, quality police, right? Now, we have to understand one thing, that we are not the ones who make the decisions, right? Who decides? Rahul, are you trying to say something?
No, I'm on mute.
Okay. All right. Someone is, okay. Thank you so much. So, yeah, trap number 1 is that we think of ourselves as quality police sometimes. By quality police, I mean, we fight for whatever we believe in, for whatever judgment we have, and we just, we push it, and so that people can make decisions. People just, decide that, okay, yes, this has to be fixed. This has to be fixed, right? So we have to be careful. We are not the ones who have this authority of making decisions or taking decisions on the bugs, which bugs to fix when, right? We are just here to help our decision makers so that they can decide fast and efficiently which bugs to fix when, right? So we are not the judges. Even if we are trying to be police, we are trying to rescue, we are not the judges. We are not the ones who is going to decide whether this bug will be fixed or not. So just present facts in order to help people further so that they can make decisions, right? Step number 2, bug severity is way more important than bug priority for us to focus on, right? Let's keep bug priority for the decision makers, right? And let's focus on how serious the bug can be. Now, for example, there's a graph here, priority versus severity, right? Now, for example, you found an issue and the problem has high priority and it has low severity, right? Then it'll be fixed now, right? If the problem has low priority and low severity, if it's not too serious, they will say that, okay, leave it for now. It'll be in the system for a long period. And whenever that feature will be in highlight or in picture, and when the user says that, okay, I want to use this feature rigorously now, then this bug will be taken care of and will be fixed. If the severity is low and the priority is high, fix it later, maybe next release. It's not important, it's not too serious, let's keep it for the next release. People might decide that. If the priority is also high and severity is also high, it will get fixed immediately. If it's a very serious bug, and if the decision makers also think that, okay, this is a high priority issue, and if the users are really waiting for this feature, this function to be used in the next release, they'll fix it immediately, right? Or if there is a problem that is found in the production, so of course it will be in high priority and it's a serious problem, it will be fixed immediately, there'll be a patch released, right? Then now we will zoom into the fruit that its skill brings. It's the credibility and persuasiveness. Now, understand one thing, guys. Your judgment at different levels in testing will impact how you make decisions. And that is what will help you build your credibility. It will help you build your reputation, right? Your judgment. So, and how do you put your judgment? You put through your bug reports. Bug report is the ultimate tool. It's the ultimate outcome of our testing practice, right? And James says the same thing, and I agree with him 100%, that we have to write compelling bug reports, we have to convince people using our bug reports such that, the important problems get fixed, right? And we build credibility and a reputation. It's built over time. It doesn't just, you report one bug that's credible, that shows how important the problem is and it gets fixed. That doesn't mean that, you just have to stop there. You have to keep practicing it, keep it consistent, right?
Hi, Khushboo, Rahul. Sorry to interrupt. Sumit this side. We
Yes,
just got
Sumit.
2 more minutes. So sorry, for
Oh.
the next session, right?
Yeah.
So just in the interest of time, I have already asked everyone to put questions for both of you in the chat, which we
Okay,
will
yes,
collect, and we'll try to you can then answer for all of them, right? Okay. So we just
absolutely.
got 1.5 minute more. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I'll just speed up. All right. So you can do it using 3 ways. You can build your credibility using 3 ways. Listen to your developers, right? If they don't get heard, be open with them, right? Show them what you think about the product, how learn from them, right? So that's one tip to build your credibility. Check twice to be sure if it's really a bug, Now, we already talked about this, right? You have to be sure, you have to run a reality check whether you are sure about the problem or not. You have to do deeper investigation to see if your facts are correct. Use case studies to aid your advocacy. Now, there's this interesting book called Software Bug Stories. It's written by Ajay and Saranya, and you can find it on Leanpub. It has all the stories of bug who went into production and what impact those bugs had on the users, and how dangerous were they. So you can refer that and use these kind of stories to support your advocacy, to support your judgment in the report, right? It will help you be more open. Mistakes to avoid. Try to whenever you reach out to a person and initiate a conversation, try to have a clear intention and put it clearly in the message and avoid grammatical issues. We all are humans and we all make grammatical issues. That's not a problem. But just try once and twice and be good at that. It will help you in conducting the conversation in a very efficient way. So here's an example also in the chat.
Yeah. So the essence is that, avoid any kind of sloppiness in writing that makes you look unprofessional, and avoid that. Khushboo, can we go to the next slide? Yep. So, the common mistakes, I think pretty much opposite of what Khushboo covered in the 4 levels. Avoid poor title, or reporting with too much advocacy or authority, which means acting like a quality police, or providing no detail at all, just like crash and stuff like that. So explain things, don't ignore the big picture, talk about the big picture, don't just restrict to the symptom, and don't disrespect. Say it in a very neutral language. You don't have to disrespect the developer, programmer, anybody in the team. Next, any unnecessary text is not required. Khushboo, can you just do all these in once? Yeah, so duplicate reports, again, a burden for the team. Don't do that. Wrong severity or wrong priority. Don't assign, a minor bug into critical. That again makes you less serious. And then confusing a bug with a change request. So, if it's a change request, please phrase it like a request. If it's a bug, then phrase it like a bug. Next, Khushboo. Yep. So there are various ways to measure communication. The essence is that we have to understand that when we give something in a written communication or in an oral format, how many times the other person has to come to us for pulling some information or telling us that you sounded harsh or there were some mistakes or they have some follow-up questions. So we have to essentially reduce that, and it's something that everybody learns with time. You have to see that are your stakeholders again and again coming with similar kind of questions, then start providing that answers. Khushboo, next slide. And then there are some tools that can help you. I'll not talk about tools, but yeah, this is just a screenshot that you can take of all the tools and you can evaluate them on your own. So that's about the tools.
Yeah.
And let's go to the next. I think we are about to end, right? So yeah. The next steps is that I think whatever we have put in, there are some resources that the books that we have talked about, you can check them out. And the essence is that you have to practice it and go ahead. Yep, Khushboo. So, and yeah, as I was saying in the chat also, that testing is a social activity. We are surrounded by people, and a lot of times, even the issues in getting bug rejected or failed or ignored are mostly people's problem. So you have to address that. And as Jerry Weinberg puts it, no matter what anybody says, it's always a people's problem. The golden tip is to practice up. We have pretty much, I think, covered most of the aspects we wanted to talk about. This is a quick summary. Thank you, everyone. Have been so engaging in the comments chat, and we would love to see your learnings from this workshop. Please post them in a social media post and tag us. and we'll reach out to you. We'll connect with you. Any questions, you can come to us and we'll discuss. So thank you, Sumit.
Yeah,
Do
Rahul.
we have any question? Time for Q&A?
I think it's a very interesting one. I am too much engaged in the session, but with the interest of time, I have just collected all the questions. I will share with both of you,
Perfect.
and you can answer from the LinkedIn, or maybe you can directly reach out to them. Thank you so much. We'll move for the next session with
Thank
Rahul
you.
and Khushboo.
Perfect. Perfect.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You guys were
Thanks, Sumit.
lovely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rahul sir and Khushboo ma'am. It was an amazing, informative session in such a short amount of time. So thank you so much for that. We would